Good afternoon everybody, and a very warm welcome to Berringer. And today I have a layout update, and the theme of today's video is going to be general knowledge. So it's going to be a bit of everything. There's a bit on my fiddle yard, there's a new recruit, some new rolling stock, and so without further ado we're just going to go and get on with it. So here we are at fiddle yard 1, as it's probably going to be called now. And in front of you to the left is my little cube, in the middle is my HST, and on the right is my Network Southeast 159. Now the reason why I'm bringing you here is because of my HST mainly, because now I have some coaches. And although you can't really see them properly right now, I'll just bring them into the station area shortly so you can have a good old view of them, and then I'll progress and talk to you a bit more about them as we go along. Currently I have 5, and this is one of my tests, and at the end on Fiddle Yard Road 6 is where the end of the HST lies. And one of the tests is to see how many coaches that this fiddle yard can handle, and basically it can handle 5. So that's not a bad rake. I think it's a kind of a realistic rake for my layout, and I was just trying to work out when I put it here which is the best place to put it, and it seems like Fiddle Yard Road 5 where the cube is, 6 where it currently is, and 7 are the 3 main options for the HST to be parked up when not in use. What I'm planning on doing is, when I get the Fiddle Yard 2 up and running, what I'm hoping for is to basically have these 3 car units, which being the 159, and then behind that the 170, which is also another 3 car unit. I'm hoping to have them basically put over the other side permanently in Fiddle Yard 2, and then basically that will free up the space here for another HST. That's kind of what the plan is really, and I'm also hoping that maybe, I haven't tested it yet, but I'm hoping that at the very back here, this one here, is my VEP. And I'm also hoping that maybe I can get rid of the VEP and put that over in Fiddle Yard 2, which would then free up this end of the layout as well. I mean, originally I was actually hoping to have my HST being able to be parked where the VEP is at the back, because with the HST having 2 power cars I don't need to run locos around, so I could have just left it at the back without having to sort of look for uncoupling and things like that. I was hoping to bring the loco hauled stuff towards the front, but unfortunately the HST is just a bit too long. The only way I'd get it in there is if I chop it down to 4 cars instead of 5, which I'm not really, I think 5 cars I can just about really get away with realistically. I've got it into Berringer and it looks fine in Berringer with a 5 car set. But I am still probably thinking of getting another 2 coaches just to complete the set, so maybe 3 actually, 1 first class and another 2 second class, to have a full rake, just in case in the future. Basically it's if I decide to have a bigger layout and I want a full rake and I can take a full rake, it'd be nice to have it to hand. A little word on the cube. I've modified the cam truck slightly. It's a little shunters truck from Bachmann, and basically what I've done is, as you can probably see, I've basically dremeled out the sides here, and for it to sit flush and flat on the actual wagon. The reason for doing that was because you may have noticed when watching a couple of my last running session videos, particularly the 37 one that I did recently, that when it got to the tunnel it kind of merged into another edit, and also when you got to Moorwood Nuclear Fast Terminal it didn't quite fit under the arch there, and that's because this was sitting too high. Now by removing the sides here, it now sits flat on the wagon, and it can now go through the tunnels without me having to do a edit. I haven't actually tried it properly on the Nuclear Flask Terminal Arch Bridge, but I know in the station tunnel it's now perfectly fine. It just used to catch on this top edge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this cube now to bring out my HST so you can have a look at the coaches. I hope you enjoyed that little intro to my HST with its coaches pulling into the station. It's just a little ditty thing. I'll do a proper running session with it at some point. So we start off with 43021, and if I move it along, it's like the generation game, isn't it? Basically you have one first class coach, you have one buffet coach, you have one and let's say two standard coaches, and then we have a guards coach on the end, followed by 43022. And a big shout out has to go to Milton Moe Junction, also known as Robin, because if it wasn't for him I wouldn't have this rake of coaches. Sorry about that, just reversing it out just to put it in its proper place. Because Robin over at Milton Moe has decided to change his gauge, and he wanted to try O gauge, and which is what he's currently doing. And if you haven't seen his channel, please go ahead. Basically he's decided to sell all his double O gauge railway rolling stock and buildings and all sorts of stuff that he's selling off to pay for his O gauge. His O gauge is going to be based on green diesels, which I'm a big fan of anyway, so I'll be staying in tune with him throughout that. And he was the one who sold me his coaches, and these are his coaches that he kindly sold to me, and they are in absolutely immaculate condition, and there's not a single thing wrong with them, there's not a single mark on them or anything. They're absolutely mint, and it's really nice. And so he gave me, like I said, the guard, the two second class open, the buffet car, which with like pulling hen's teeth to try and get that, because I was actually looking for intercity 125 coaches in this exact livery, and I thought that, to be honest with you, this would be probably one of the easier ones to get hold of, but trying to get coaches for these things is absolutely a nightmare. And I was very fortunate that Robin was actually selling a rake of 5, so this is his 5 coaches that I've bought from him. And trying to get, like I said, I tried looking for individual coaches, but you just can't find them, especially the buffet card. Trying to get hold of that. I looked on the internet for eBay as well for Lima coaches, and they were pretty much going for the same sort of money as the 125 Hornby coaches that I could find, so it didn't really make any sense. I thought, well, if I'm going to spend a similar sort of money or the same money, I might as well try and get some new ones. So I'm very lucky. So now I've managed to get this rake off of him. I have managed to source, because all these coaches have got letters, and this one is G. Now the ones that I'm missing are C and D and H, and I might buy those 3 if I can source them, which I've already been able to source 2. So basically I can have a full rake at some point if I want to in the future to go with my HST, which I would really like to as a bit of a future proof, because I don't really know what's going to happen in the future, and if at some point I decide to change the layout and I'd like to have a circuit layout, and it'd be nice to be able to try and have a full rake if I can manage it. One of the other things I should say about Robin over at Milton Mow, he was very, very sweet. Not only did he include the 5 coaches for my layout, but he also gave me a little gift, which was this Oxford diecast Princess. So a big thumbs up to Robin over at Milton Mow, and I feel really happy in some ways, because it's like I feel like I've contributed to his O gauge layout, and that makes me feel good. So in some small part, I've managed to sort of help fund his O gauge layout, and so he can progress on with that. So I'm really pleased that I can do that, and I'm also pleased for the fact that he's sold me these coaches, because they're absolutely immaculate, and I've got a nice rake. As I said, my blue-grey one, HST, hasn't got any coaches and won't have any coaches for some time, because what I'm planning on doing is getting the Oxford diecast blue-grey coaches when they come out. And the reason why I bought these Hornby Intercity 125 coaches is because when diecast bring out their Mark IIIs, they'll bring it in the Intercity livery of this colour, but they won't be the Intercity 125 ones. So they'll be the swallow liveried Intercity coloured. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get the Hornby ones of the Intercity 125s, because when Oxford diecast bring them out, I believe they're only bringing out the blue-grey ones and the Intercity ones at first. So, like I said, I'm going to get the blue-grey coaches to go in my blue-grey set when they come out. So, in the meantime, the blue-grey set HST will probably run with these coaches. Now, moving on. There's another new recruit to the layout, and it only arrived 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago? Maybe even yesterday. Sorry, yesterday. It arrived yesterday, and you may have caught a glimpse of it already. I'm not sure, but in case you haven't, this is it. I have a Class 67 on my layout, which is fantastic. I absolutely love this thing. It's just had a test run. It hasn't pulled any coaches or anything like that, because I only got it yesterday, so I haven't had the chance to run it in properly, so it needs a good running in. I've just literally only just run it up and down the layout to check that that everything was working, and that the lights were working and everything like that. This is 67003. This is going to go with my WAG train as another option to the 57. And I know some of you may turn around and say, well, I haven't got a DVT and it hasn't got Mark IIIs and all the rest of it. But originally, when Arriva Trains Wales brought out the 67 in this livery, they didn't have the rolling stock ready, and they didn't have enough Mark IIIs to go round. and so they scrambled for Mark III's, and some off I think it was Wrexham and Shropshire, and they leased them out and all the rest of it until they got them repainted. Forgive me, that was just my phone going. And basically, so in the early days they were still running with the Mark II's, so that will look really nice with my Mark II's. So it's kind of like in the sort of transitional period, and if I do come across the Mark III Arriva Trains Wales set coaches, I might still do that, but I'm not sure. It's trying to get hold of the DVT and the buffet car. I don't know what it is about buffet cars, but they seem to be like, maybe there's a lot of hungry people around, but trying to get hold of buffet cars either for the First Great Western, and trying to get them in the Arriva Trains Wales, get them in the Intercity. It doesn't matter which livery, they seem to be the most difficult ones to get hold of for love nor money. So it's just going to be a case of following searches on eBay, and maybe one will pop up at some point and I'll get hold of one or something like that. I might get lucky or something like that, but in the meantime it will run with my Class 57, sorry, with my WAG train, and I can, like I said, rotate it with the Class 57. I actually want to get, I'm feeling getting another one of these actually, an EWS one actually, because the actual real WAG train, not only does it run with this livery, but it also sometimes runs with the EWS liveried 67s as well. So it'll be nice, I can actually alternate and have the EWS pulling the WAG train, and also the EWS 67 could also pull my mail train, so that will give it another option, and I'm really feeling it. I mean, since I've got this one, I really like the look of it, I like the weight of it, I like the way it runs, and it's just such a beautiful model. So I am sorely tempted to get an EWS 67. So that's about it for this update really. Oh, just before I go, I'll just take you over the other side. Here we are, in a minute, over at Moorwood Station. You probably briefly saw this when I did the running session, but basically I've now got the canopy and the building lit up. So that's pretty cool. I'm really happy with that. And the canopy just basically simply lifts out. That's it, like that, like so, and it just, so you've got that, and it just sits on top. And if you just see, I've just got a little connector that just links up the wiring, but I'm actually going to change that connector for one of the plug-in ones that I use to connect the power, that transfers the power across from the joints, those plug-in ones, because in that way that will make the buildings more removable. So if I need to move them for any reason, or the light packs up on one of them, then it's easier to actually fix it. There's actually no detailing on the bottom like there is on the other one, but that's because I haven't really done it yet. I'm going to probably paint this and probably more than likely rib it as well to give it a bit of detail and a bit of definition on the bottom. And like I said, that just sort of sits on the top there, and that's all it does. And as far as the filiard's concerned in the kitchen, work will commence on that next week. So hopefully the point is here, so that's all ready to go, and that's going to go down there, and then it's going to go onto the kitchen, and we're going to start making plans for that as well next week. That'll be the job for next week, so I'm off all next week, so I'm hoping to make a good dent into the kitchen area, because I really want to get cracking with it, to be honest with you. I'm really quite eager to have the filiard working, so I can start running trains from filiard 1 to filiard 2, and I'm looking forward to doing that as well. So thanks for watching, please feel free to comment and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.